Let's get you going here. Let's get that Facebook stream running. Let me know when you have A-Dubs on. Hopefully he's got a decent signal.
All right, you said he was going to have possible issues at 45 after?
Yeah, he said he can only do 45 minutes. He's driving to Texas. He knows where he's going to be, so.
Yeah.
We'll just cover that last deal. I kind of want to go to what's going on in Chicago. Dude, the police department has been told not to help their federal partners. It's unfucking believable. These people are seditionists, dude, and they need to be treated as such.
Hold up.
All right, guys, we will be live with you here in about 3 minutes on the national radio broadcast. Thanks for tuning in. Please like and share and repost these posts. We would appreciate that.
AAR on hold.
Greg, say hi to everybody.
What's up, everyone?
All right, guys, we will be live with you here.
All right, our audio sounds good there.
On the national radio broadcast. Thanks for tuning in. Please like and share. We would appreciate that.
AAR on hold.
Greg, say hi to everybody.
What's up, everyone?
"15 seconds, guys."
This is Armed American Radio.
If they want to take my guns, they're going to have to bring a station wagon and a whole lot of friends because I'm not giving them anything.
From the Car Firearms Group studio at the Patriot Mobile Communication Center. Proudly presented to you by the National Rifle Association. National Rifle Association. Here is your host of Armed American Radio, the loudest conservative voice in America fighting for your rights, Mark Walters.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Armed American Radio's Monster Cast begins right now on hundreds of stations across the nation. I am Mark Walters, and I will be filling your prescription for freedom for the next 3 solid hours. Here from the Car Firearms Group studio, sitting in front of the CZ Powerful and Platinum microphone. All of it being brought to you by the National Rifle Association. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Great show for you lined up today. And remember, we're here at the Patriot Mobile Communication and Command Center Ranch. Greg in Dallas, Texas, how you doing, my brother?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Here we are, Sunday Gun Day.
Comes really fast, doesn't it? Boom,
Every week.
bam. Yeah, I did Andy Hoosier's show yesterday and had a blast
There you go.
on that program. It's fun to get out of the wheelhouse and talk about some other conservative issues and really dive deep, and we did. So, guys, if you missed that show, make sure to check out Hoosier Reason, HOOSER Reason.com, and give it a listen. I think you'll find it interesting. It was a tremendous amount of fun. Greg, we're live on Facebook.com/Armed American Radio, Facebook.com/Armed American Radio, and I'll let you tell everybody else where we're at, which includes all of them, and where to participate in the chat, and we'll get cracking, and I'll give you the lineup right when we come back.
Sure, other places to watch the show are going to be YouTube and Rumble. Just do a search for Armed American Radio with Mark Walters. Over at X, we're at AAR Mark. You can head over to armedamericanradio.org or .com, hit that menu icon, then select your watch live or listen live option. To join our live chat, just download Telegram, create your profile, and search for Armed American Radio Conversations.
Yeah, so we've got AWR Hawkins for at least 45 minutes, 3 segments today. He's driving. And I want to let you know that Ryan Petty will not be in the roundtable with us because he is sadly stuck in an airport on delayed flights heading up to New York City. WRCN listeners up there on the island, New York, he will be up your way eventually. He's late. But we have Russell Stewart, founder of Beverly Hills Guns, sitting in the Classic Roundtable, filling Ryan Petty's shoes today. And in the second hour, really special guest, who this is not going to be his only appearance, I can promise you. Look to Jared to be a regular. Jared Yanis, YouTube star from Guns and Gadgets, will be here for the solid hour. That promises to be a dynamite conversation. I've known Jared for a while, and we're not going to hold back. As much as the FCC allows us to get away with, we will do our level best to give you some fun radio. AWR Hawkins, Breitbart News, welcome in, my brother. Always a pleasure. How are you?
I'm doing good. Good to be with you.
Yeah, thanks for jumping in here. I know you're on the road, and I know you're driving, and I really do appreciate you taking time out. So we'll see how long we can keep you before you lose a signal, because you likely will. AWR, before we get going, I'm going to refresh here. I have not seen yet if you have written this, but we've got great news out. Did you write about the Supreme Court taking the Hawaii case by chance, and I missed it?
No, I didn't write about it. I read about it, but I didn't write about it. I'll start writing on that, once oral arguments occur, and that won't, that'll be a little while.
So, but obviously we're familiar with this. This is big news, ladies and gentlemen. The Second Amendment Foundation and Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms has a press release out from 2 days ago, which will be on late on Friday afternoon. The Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms is delighted by the Supreme Court's decision to hear a case that could expand carry rights on private property open to the public, such as shopping malls, restaurants, and stores. Now, folks, we've talked about these cases in Hawaii over the years. This case is Wolford v. Lopez, and here's what Alan had to say. The time has come for such questions to be decided. There are tens of millions of legally armed private citizens who almost daily find themselves barred from entering business establishments, office buildings, movie theaters, restaurants, even supermarkets, simply because they are exercising their Second Amendment rights. AWR, when you hear that the Supreme Court is going to take a case like this, knowing the makeup of the court, this one kind of came out of left field. You get less than 1% of the cases are granted cert. When you hear they're taking a case like this, I feel really good about this. I know Alan does as well, too. What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I feel good about it. I'm just going to watch it develop. But, yeah, I feel good. The fact that they took it, that alone gives me a pretty good feeling.
Yeah, when you combine, ladies and gentlemen, what's going on with Thune's H.R. 38, and we're going to talk at great length about that with Jared Yanis coming up. He's got a great video over at YouTube at Guns and Gadgets about this. We'll go into great detail. But AWR, I don't know where we are. Can you tell us where we are on constitutional carry veto override in North Carolina?
No, he's still waiting in North Carolina, and nationally, I don't know where we are. I mean, they're moving. They're trying to show us just how slow they can move. That's all I know.
Yeah, North Carolina especially, because this was originally set for a veto override around the 25th to the 27th of September. Well, we're past that date. We don't have it yet. Of course, that would be the 30th state to give us constitutional carry. And then in the halls of Congress, we've got H.R. 38 moving again. And we'll talk, as I said, we'll talk with Jared and more specifics about that. He's got all of the details there. We want to knock that one out for you because that's a great subject to discuss on Armed American Radio today. And then you've got this case in Hawaii. So AWR, it appears, just on the surface, it just appears that things are moving in the right direction. Obviously, the most pro-gun president we've had in my lifetime. Are you still comfortable with the direction we're going? And you just mentioned, I'll throw this word out, slow walking, right? But we're moving in the right direction. Positive development.
I like the direction we're moving in. It's just too slow. We need to be accomplishing things at a much quicker pace. And that's on Congress. That's not on President Trump. The House should make H.R. 38 a priority, get it through ASAP, and they haven't done it to this point.
Yeah, and guys, we've been talking about this Thune bill. Thune's had a bill out there for how long, AWR? Well over a decade. I mean, this has been floating around forever. I can go all the way back to McConnell just for whatever reason not wanting to hear the bill. Okay, he's not a player anymore at this stage of the game. We don't know what, getting past the 60-vote threshold in the Senate will be tough. But it is bipartisan coming out of the House. I believe we have one Democrat that has crossed over in support of concealed carry reciprocity. And if I'm not mistaken, there's 188 at this point supporters in the House on that bill. Again, more on that coming up later. The killing fields in Chicago, AWR, there's a lot going on in Chicago right now. The Chicago mayor and the police have decided that they are not going to assist ICE. ICE is being systematically attacked in coordinated attacks. 10 vehicles boxing them in, having to shoot at Americans because some of them are armed. The violence is real. Pritzker is, as far as I'm concerned, it's sedition, bro. And somebody needs to go to jail. What the hell is going on?
Well, I mean, all of that I don't know, but I do know that there were at least 13 people were shot just in regular Chicago gun violence Friday into Saturday night. So, the city is still out of control.
Yeah, and the leadership, ladies and gentlemen, when you hear what I was just mentioning, it is literally out of control. Let me give you some numbers because AWR is right. We'll see if these numbers have risen. Right now, it's 18 wounded, 6 killed. 18 wounded, 6 killed. So the number is rising. And guys, you know this. We've been doing this for 17 years on the airwaves. At sometime around 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, midnight Eastern time, these numbers are going to update again. So far, October, we are 5 days in, AWR. 7 shot and killed, 26 wounded, 33 total shot. For last week alone, from 9/28 to 10/4, 12 shot and killed, 36 wounded, total 48 shot. Year to date, getting close to 300. That'll probably happen tonight or tomorrow. Shot and killed 293, shot and wounded 1,277 people for a total of 1,570 people shot. AWR, as many years as you and I have been covering these numbers in Chicago, this, at this point now, it just defies any semblance of common sense at all, that nothing is being done. That you and I report this information and talk about it every week for over a decade together is sick, is it not? What the hell has to happen?
Yeah. Well, nothing's going to happen. I mean, this is the logical outworking of the leftist worldview, so that's how it is. So it's just going to be that way. And folks are just going to die. That's just how it is. The left doesn't care. And, the left, one of their ideological goals is to get rid of guns. And if they can't do that, they want to constrain law-abiding citizens' ability to carry them. And by doing that, they turn the law-abiding into prey, and the murders continue. And so that's just it. It's a logical outworking of their ideology.
Yeah, and we got to point out, too, we repeat this every weekend, AWR. We've got 30 seconds, so I'll take us to the break with this. But ladies and gentlemen, these are weekend numbers. They don't stop killing each other in Chicago Monday through Friday. They don't take a break. They keep it up. It's continuous. It's nonstop. But we report the weekend numbers to you because we see more crime, of course, during the weekend months and during the summer months, which are coming to an end. So it'll be interesting to see how these numbers float for the remainder of the year. But we've got decades to look back at. We've got the charts. We've got the graphs. We've got everything we need to, well, confirm what AWR just told you. It's just the way the left is. It's never, ever going to stop. They don't want to fix it. They could have if they wanted to. Good heavens. When we come back, AWR Hawkins, Breitbart News. Don't go away.
Years and years ago, he got that nickname over there.
That's funny.
He got that nickname over there.
That's funny. Coming right back to you guys. Coming right back to you guys. The following segment of Armed American Radio is proudly being brought to you by the National Rifle Association. Help us defend freedom by visiting nra.org/AAR and join today. Welcome back to the show. Indeed, welcome back. Car Firearms Group Studios lit up for you. It's all being brought to you by the National Rifle Association, ladies and gentlemen. If you've not joined or renewed, I'm going to ask you why. We need you in the fight. We have to have you. Please, please do not sit on the sidelines. We make it real easy for you, and we give you free stuff to do it, so it's kind of a no-brainer. I'll just ask you, if you haven't joined or rejoined, or if you're on the fence, just join us for a year. National Rifle Association, NRA.org. It's $35 for the year, and you'll get the free range bag. Then you can decide if you want to renew after the year. Got kids like mine? We're all members. Make your family a member. Get your colleagues involved. It's $35 for the year. 1 year membership, 3 year membership. We're going to send you a free range bag. We still have some left. So we're going to keep those going. You get a free range bag out of the deal. 5 year to 10 years, or excuse me, 5 years to life, either one of those two, 5 years of life membership, we're going to send you the binoculars. And then eventually when they're gone, and they will be here coming up pretty soon, I have a feeling, then one of you is going to win another range bag, a new product loaded with all kinds of cool swag from AAR's great partners, and it's going to be worth a little bundle. So please join us, won't you? Help us in this fight. It is $35. And join the National Rifle Association. Rejoin this organization, the oldest civil rights organization in America. We need to get this organization back up over 6 million. It would be huge, and we need your help to do it. It's so important in this fight right now. Please do that. And you can also find all of our other partners at armedamericanradio.com. Welcome back. Let's go back over to the great AWR Hawkins from Breitbart News. So I'll close out Chicago AWR with, just like I did on that last break, but the killing fields are alive and well in Chicago, Illinois. They don't stop killing each other over the weeks. They could stop this. They choose not to. I'll give you the final word in that, and then we'll move on.
Well, no, that is the final word. It's not going to change.
So that's the final word. It's not going to change.
No, they're just dealing with a bunch of libtards.
Yeah, well, I'll leave it at that, ladies and gentlemen. They're not going to fix their problems, and they could. Let's talk about a couple shootings that occurred. One of them you wrote about today, one dead after a shooting at South Carolina State University. I got the alert. Usually I kind of defer to you when I see these. I know that if you're going to write these stories, then it's worthy of writing. What made this one worthy of writing? One dead after shootings at South Carolina State.
I just cover it because sometimes if you don't cover a story like this, people will say, I'm picking and choosing, only writing good gun news, not bad news. And I still don't even know what happened here. This may have been a domestic situation. I have no idea what happened, but they haven't been very forthcoming with details. But seems like it was two separate shootings, one death, and that's about it. But I just wrote it up because it happened. It was real. It did force the campus to go on lockdown. So that's that.
2 dead, 3 critical after 2 groups have shootout in Alabama, and I know you well enough to know that, because we've talked about many of these. These are not mass shootings, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the left will portray something like this, but this was 2 groups involved in a shootout in Alabama. So correct me if I'm wrong. To you and to me, this does not qualify as what they would call a mass shooting when you've got 2 opposed opponents fighting each other. Agreed?
Yeah, but you may have more than 2. I mean, you may have multiple people in each group that were armed. So it's even less of a mass shooting when you think that. And, so what you have here is a shootout. You had juveniles hurt. That tells you a little something. And so it'll be interesting. I don't know how long it'll take them to finally track down the people that actually pulled the triggers. It'll be interesting to see the ages and group affiliations.
Do you want me to make a guess on this live broadcast? You're going to find it's gang violence. Oh,
yeah.
That might just be a lucky guess, AWR. Maybe I'm going out on a limb here, bro. Maybe I'm just going out too far. Maybe I'm ahead of my skis. I don't think so. But I
think it's a pretty good guess.
It's a pretty good guess, ladies and gentlemen. And it's interesting to see how the left reports these. There's no question about it. I do want to talk about CZ. There was some internet rumbles a couple days ago, and it looks like it's debunked. The internet you got to take with a grain of salt, but I know CZ pretty well. Okay, this is the CZ microphone, ladies and gentlemen. CZ USA, Colt Canada is not and will not be involved in the Canadian buyback program from Canadian citizens. Do you want to jump in here on this, because I believe you spoke to a representative?
Yeah, but I mean, that's it. You just read it. I mean, they're not. So move along, and that's that. I was glad that they could do that clarification because, like you said, there's a lot of noise on social media, and that's just how that is. You can't trust social media a large percentage of the time, and this looks like another case that was just like that Colt Canada wasn't involved in this buyback and will not be involved in it, and there you go.
Yeah, it's guys, Canada right now is a mess, and you've got a province that's they're already calling for confiscating your guns if you don't turn them in, if you don't sell them back. they're going to arrest you and they're going to take them. Canada is a mess, and I can promise you, I've spoken to them as well. They're not involved in this at all, and it's frustrating because social media is like that. Somebody gets it out there, somebody shares something, the nonsense gets out, people repost it, and the next thing you know, it's all over the place. We want to put a squash and kibosh on that right now. Moving quickly with AWR because he's got so much in here, and we've only got him for one more segment after this one. Transgenderism, again, AWR, I'm getting sick of the word. I'm getting sick of talking about it. I'm sick of hearing about it. I'm sick of reading about it. And the talk radio show, I'm sick of talking about it, but we can't ignore it. Kavanaugh's would-be assassin's mom is citing his son's transgenderism as the reason for leniency in this sentencing. He got 8 years. Now, Bondi and the federal government are going to try to appeal this. This guy should have gotten no less than 20 years. It is ludicrous. This is a far-left judge. The ruling was unbelievable, and it appears to me that she was just sympathetic to the transgender fellow leftist. Am I just angry?
No, I mean the sentence was ridiculous.
Golly, man.
Because I believe they found that it wasn't just Kavanaugh, that they believed he was willing.
Did we drop him, Greg?
So
there he is. We got you back, AW. You said it wasn't just Kavanaugh, but what?
Yeah. I believe he was willing to target a couple of justices if he could. Kavanaugh was a central figure. But, it's just ridiculous. And in this climate, you got to send a message. There needs to be a message. Political violence won't be tolerated. And instead, they gave him a little
30.
tap on the back of the hand. So I hope Bondi's successful in appealing this, and I hope his sentence grows exponentially.
I hope you're right about that, but after doing a lot of research today and talking to a number of folks, it is very difficult. Now, we're in a different era now. Political violence is far greater now than it was when Kavanaugh was originally targeted. It's gotten far worse, for obvious reasons. You know those cases, ladies and gentlemen, not to mention the least of which was Charlie Kirk. So maybe this has something that will change these guidelines, but, justices or judges have a lot of leeway in sentencing, from what I've been told.
20.
Normally, it's very difficult to do. So just keep your fingers crossed that this clown gets at least another 12 years tacked on. We'll be back. One more segment with AWR Hawkins from Breitbart News.
So, moving on.
Guys and dames, if you're watching on X, I understand that the stream over there on X is buffered somewhat. I just want to let you know that's on their side. It's not your computer, and it's not us. It's not our studio, but it is coming from X. I did notice that myself, and on my end, it was just a quick refresh to be able to get it back up. So give that a shot, or you can watch us on Facebook, or you can check us out on YouTube or Rumble if it becomes an issue, but looks like we're back up over there. Again, it has nothing to do with us. We can't do anything about it, but I see it spinning up there, so it looks like we're good to go. There we go again, right? They don't like what we're talking about, maybe?
Could be.
Been pretty innocuous. There hasn't been anything major, so I'm be a little surprised. Guys, we're a little busy in here in the studio bringing you the show. If you want to drop comments in X and let us know if it looks like it's still buffering from time to time, I would appreciate it. Or you can jump in the chat at Telegram if you're participating over there. We appreciate your help. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. What do we got, 30?
5.
Ah.
I said 30 when you were doing a hit.
There we go.
Hey, it's Andy Hoosier, the voice of reason on KQAM, Wichita's Big Talker, and you're tuned into the Armed American Radio Network. Now let's get back to the man himself, Mark Walters.
Andy Hoosier, he's the real deal. Andy Hoosier will be here with us tomorrow on Armed American Radio's Daily Defense, and he will be sitting in the chair for me Wednesday and Thursday, or just Wednesday, and Christopher Hart will be filling in for me on Thursday or Friday, one of those 2 days. So you're going to have both of those fine gentlemen. We appreciate them very much and everything that they bring to the table for Armed American Radio. Guys, welcome back inside the Car Firearms Group studios with you. We are filling your prescription for freedom today and every day. And today it's the Car Firearms Group studios. We're on the CZ microphone, all brought to you by the National Rifle Association. Please go out of your way to visit our partners and support them all. BudsGunShop.com. They have everything you need. Support them. Firearms industry's hurting right now. Buy an extra box of ammo. Buy it from Buds. Want to buy a gun? Want to buy some accessories? Buds has you covered. BudsGunShop.com, our exclusive online retail, and support the industries that support each and every one of us and make this show possible heading into its 18th year. Beginning on April 27th, we will begin our 18th year on the nation's airwaves. Remarkable run. AWR Hawkins, welcome back, my brother. You've got a piece up that is, to me, just utterly mind-boggling, okay? But you've reported on goofy stuff like this before in the past, but it's kind of shocking because we're talking about Idaho. But let me just give you the headline, ladies and gentlemen. Protests erupt as school board stands by decision to suspend football players over airsoft photo in Idaho. AWR, 2 students pointing airsoft guns at another who were dressed in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho school clothing here. What's going on with this?
Yeah, I mean, it is a football rival, and so they did that picture, and anyway, that's it. They're done playing football for the year, and they got 10-day suspensions from class on top of that, and the parents and a number of students just went wild over it, that the suspension is, so harsh, but the school board just dug in, and apparently they're not going to reverse this decision.
Okay, so let's talk about this briefly, because you have in the column, boys will be boys. A lot of the parents are just boys will be boys. If you've ever taken any force-on-force training, you use airsoft guns. Okay, now the school is falling back on this. This is not the type of behavior that we want to seemingly agree with by not taking action, essentially. And some of these kids are seniors, okay? Some of the players who are banned now are seniors and are now missing their year to play football and be visible to college scouts. It seems the punishment doesn't fit the crime here, AWR.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go out on a limb and guess there are probably a couple of school board members that don't know the difference between a frog gig and a Glock 17.
You're probably very right about that. We tend to find that on school boards. We know the post-falls community has questions about the recent disciplinary action taken by the board. Please know we do hear you, but by federal law, we cannot share specifics about disciplinary matters involving students. So there's their out. Now I'm going to go on a limb, and I'm going to tell you that I think, AWR and listeners, that I think this will be scaled back somewhat. I think the outcry will be big enough that they bring this back a little bit and rein this in. Any thoughts on that? Just a guess.
I hope you're right. I really do. It's ridiculous. I mean, you have to look too at intent. Number one, these are toy guns, toys. They're not acting like they're real guns. They know they're toys. It's a prank photo, it's not a real threat, and it's completely different. You look at the Sandy Hook shooter. How many times did he threaten or otherwise cause trouble to his family and others? And of course, his mom kept covering for him.
Yeah,
that's a completely different animal right there. This is just some kids having fun, is how it seems, and that's how it's being interpreted by all the parents who are saying this is ridiculous. So we have this kind of response to this photo.
and it's Idaho, ladies and gentlemen. It's not New York. It's not Jersey. It's not Illinois. It's not a commie state. It's Idaho. I think this gets dialed back. I could be way off on this, but it's just a gut feeling I have. We'll let you know if and when that happens. Pennsylvania Republicans. Let's out 5 Pennsylvania Republicans, AWR, who voted with House Democrats on Tuesday to help pass universal background check legislation. And this was in the Pennsylvania House. You wrote about it. So those of you listening in Pennsylvania, if you don't know this, you will hear it now. But you have 5 who voted pro-gun control. One of them is Representative Joe Hogan, District 142, Republican in PA. Kristen Marcel, Republican, District 178 in PA. Kathleen Tomlinson, Republican, District 18. Martina White, Republican, District 170. And Representative Craig Williams, Republican, District 160. Now, the gun control bill, as you reported, passed 104 to 99. AWR, do we know anything?
You don't have to be good at math to know that 104 minus 99 is 5, and 5 Republicans crossed over. So, these 5 passed this bill. I don't think it has a prayer getting through the Senate, and that's going to be what's going to save Pennsylvania. But it's still shame on these 5 Republicans who voted for this bill. And I still don't understand the draw for universal background checks. California has had them since last century. Literally since last century, California has had universal background checks, yet California led the nation in active shooter incidents in 2021 and 2023. What's the draw? Why are universal background checks so popular? I mean, these people need to start thinking before they vote for this stuff.
Well, it is possible. I don't know the gamesmanship going on in Pennsylvania. We see it in the U.S. House all the time and in the U.S. Senate. It is possible, and again, this is just an educated guess. I could be way off, but it is possible that House leadership knew that it wasn't going to move through the Senate, that these people might be in a little bit more liberal-leaning districts, and gave them a green light to go ahead and vote against or vote pro-gun control here, knowing it wouldn't get out of the Senate, so that they could tell their constituents, at least they tried to do something so they can save their seats. It's possible those politics are in play, generally. But I don't know. It would make sense, though. It could.
I don't know.
I don't either.
I say primary all 5 of them and get rid of them. Anyone who will vote gun control, you need to go.
Get them out, ladies and gentlemen.
Take the R off the door and put a D on it.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with that one bit. Who knows what's going on behind the scenes politically? I don't know those districts. I probably should have looked up those districts before the program, but it really doesn't matter to me because they're Republicans that are voting for gun control. And in today's day and age, no, I'm with you on that. Primary them, get them out of there. Speaking of Pennsylvania, with the last minute we have, Pennsylvania GOP rep, our founding fathers called them homemade guns, not ghost guns. That's Pennsylvania State Rep Tim Bonner, noting that our founding fathers referred to ghost guns as homemade guns. Yeah, I don't think the founding fathers had any idea what a ghost gun was because they all built their own weapons. AWR, you can close us out with that one.
Right, yeah, they built them except for the ones that they took from the British whom they killed. So, but yeah. It's so stupid. This is the latest move. The left has tried for 3 decades to demonize AR-15 so we could ban them, and now they're trying to demonize homemade guns so they can be banned. But to quote that security guard that I bet everybody has seen in New Jersey, I got mines, and I'm not giving it up, and that's just how it's going to be.
Yeah, you know who else said that? Bill Maher said that too. So there you go. Even Bill Maher's not giving up his guns. AWR Hawkins, thank you, man. Please drive carefully on the rest of your ride. Thank you for taking the time to pull over and talk with us on Armed American Radio's Monster Cast on these hundreds of radio stations around the nation. We love you for a reason. Fan favorite, AWR Hawkins, Breitbart News. Check him out. Make sure to read everything he writes. Make sure to visit all of our partners. We'll be back right after this. One more segment to go. You got Greg and me for the next segment. AWR is on the road. We're going to let him get underway and get where he's going safely. And then when we come back in the next hour at 6 minutes after, Jared Yanis, Guns and Gadgets, will be here. That's going to be a fun conversation. I cannot wait to talk with Jared. Been looking forward to bringing him to the show.
I think some are saying that the video stream is the audio is not matching the lips. It's
I don't know. I can't tell
buffering.
you. During the weekend months, during the summer months, which are coming to an end. So it'll be interesting to see how these numbers float for the remainder of the year. But we've got decades. No, that's looking good on my end.
Maybe it's just their end.
Yeah, funny stuff happens with the internet. We can't control the internet, guys. I wish we could. It'd be a whole different world if I could control the internet. What do we got, 30?
Almost. We're close to close.
Close to close. There it is.
And 30.
All right. All right, Tanner, let's get you going here. Guys, we're back at you about now. Mics are up, cameras up. This segment is brought to you by Attorneys on Retainer. Get the only self-defense program for gun owners backed by a real law firm, the Attorneys for Freedom. Visit them online at attorneysonretainer.us. Welcome back. Yeah, welcome back, Car Firearms Group Studios. Mark Walters holding up my Attorneys on Retainer card because I have a team of attorneys on retainer for $35 a month. That is less, when you multiply it out by the year, than 1 hour of a just okay attorney. Think about that. Do you want just an okay attorney at $500 plus an hour, and in many cases far higher than that for a better attorney? I'll take the $35 a month in the Attorneys for Freedom law firm all day long, because my cost is never going to rise. God forbid I have to use my firearm. Attorneysonretainer.us has my back. An entire team that specialize in nothing but self-defense. And I know a lot of you are on the fence about this. Just get off the fence and do it. It's real simple. Attorneysonretainer.us. Attorneysonretainer.us. By the way, my next guest coming up in the next hour, Jared Yanis, will be speaking in February at the gathering, Attorneys on Retainer gathering. I'll be there. AWR will be there. Ryan Petty will be there. Alan Gottlieb's going to be there. So join us. Come out. It's for members only. Come check us out in Arizona, beautiful Chandler, Arizona, in February. It's a great time of the year to go out there, and it's a great time every day to have attorneys in your hip pocket at $35 a month that are going to defend you tooth and nail. So please, please take advantage of these amazing partners that we have, all of them. Welcome back, Car Firearms Group Studios. Mark Walters, filling your prescription for freedom. All this brought to you by the National Rifle Association, by the way. Make sure to check them out, all of our partners at armedamericanradio.com, including Heaven's Harvest and Crossbreed Holsters. My son's carrying in a Crossbreed now, Greg. He just can't get enough of it.
20. Yeah, I'm sure he loves it.
Oh, he's in the Super Tuck. He's on it all day long.
Didn't he get a whole bunch of that swag anyways? Like,
yeah, he's really bummed at me now because he and I are taking off together. Just the two of us. We're doing a father-son little retreat for his 21st birthday. I'm taking him down to Key West on Wednesday through Saturday.
Yep.
And he's bummed that it's probably not going to be here by Wednesday, but he's got a whole slew of stuff coming from Crossbreed.
All right. So it's still in the mail.
Oh, it's in the mail. Well, let me put it this way: it had to be ordered. I had to order a bunch of stuff, and I got him all kinds of stuff. I got belts. I got all kinds of fun stuff. Several different holsters, inside, outside, belly bands. He wants the belly band because he wears sweats and stuff. You know, he can carry in a classroom at his university classes. Yeah, I love being in a free state. Did you hear that, New Yorkers, Illinoisans, Marylanders, Oregonians, Washingtonians, Californians, Massachusetts, Connecticutans, Massachusettsans? You hear that? He can carry in his classroom.
Coloradans?
Colorado can too. They've actually, I believe they have school carry.
Oh, they do? Okay.
I think so, but I'm not positive. Let me hold off on that one.
I didn't expect Jared Polis out there to be very friendly to that.
I think I think those laws were written back. I'd have to look into to Colorado. If anybody in the chat is out there that knows that, let me know. I don't know if they have campus carry or not. But regardless, we do, and he can, and that's a beautiful thing. And you know what's really interesting? It's very safe. The classrooms.
You mean there's not blood in the streets?
Never, not one time,
Interesting.
Nothing. None of their predictions came true. Can you believe that?
Interesting how that happens.
That none of the Democrat left's predictions came true. I mean, I don't know. How's that working out for you guys? All those predictions. Every time you guys make a prediction, well, you're wrong every single time. Every single time. Let me go back to this case. Yeah, right, crickets. I want to go back to this SCOTUS and the Hawaii case. This is interesting stuff. Here, let me break this down. I don't need to break it down for you. It's pretty self-explanatory. But when we talk about gun rights, Greg, you know this. You don't hear Hawaii come up that much.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Yeah, you don't hear Hawaii come up anything when you're talking about the United States.
Except for when that crazy Maisie Hirono's up there running her mouth.
Yeah, every once in a while she'll say something stupid and puts Hawaii on the map, you know. But other than that, unless you're talking about going to Hawaii on vacation or something like that, or a airplane skin blows out when landing in Honolulu or something like that, you really don't hear a lot about Hawaii, particularly when it comes to gun rights. But there have been, Young has been fighting out there, the CCW issue for so many years. And now we have this Wolford v. Lopez case that I find fascinating that the Supreme Court took this. Now what we need to do, because they begin their term again Monday, Now what we need to do is get this AWB, assault weapons ban case, up in front of them. And I believe it might be the Illinois. We hadn't been right on all of that. I would have lost a lot of money in Vegas because I thought for certain that Fourth Circuit case was going to be taken. And not just me, a lot of people did, because it checked off all the boxes. But for some reason they didn't. Kavanaugh has already signaled. Now they've got this case. So what does this say? Because we've always talked about here, if you own, I'm all about private property rights. I've said this myself. Greg, you're a homeowner, right?
Used to be.
Yeah, I'm a homeowner. If I don't like green pickup trucks and I'm having a party at my house and somebody's driving a green pickup truck, I don't want that pickup truck in front of my house. That's my property. I can say, I don't want that green pickup truck here. Go park at the pool. Right?
Yeah.
But my home is not open to the public. So if you own a restaurant that's privately owned, and many of you listening to the show may very well be in this position, should you be able to ban someone from exercising their Second Amendment rights in an establishment that you own that is open to the public? That's what this hinges on. But think about it, because Alan nailed it. Every day somewhere in this country, a private citizen suddenly finds himself or herself in the middle of an emergency. In those instances where their lives or the lives of other persons hang in the balance, their right to self-preservation hinge upon whether they can exercise their right to keep and bear arms. That's really what this case is all about, and we are eager to see how the High Court will decide this thorny issue. And I thought it was interesting that the word coming from Alan was thorny issue, because it is kind of a thorny issue. I value private property rights, but my property is not open to the public. Should I be able to ban the public in my restaurant? Now, you know how I feel about that. I've talked about it for years. Absolutely not. If your business is open to the public, no, you cannot. I have no idea. I don't want to second guess the court on this one, Greg. Would you?
No, not at all. This is it's a real sticky case. Yeah.
This is interesting. I have a feeling I know how they'll rule. And again, I'm the eternal optimist here. I want to stay on top of this. I believe they'll rule in our favor. But there's always that but. What about Barrett? What about Roberts? I can pretty much tell you how I think Kavanaugh, Alito, Thomas will rule.
30.
What about Roberts? What about Barrett in something like this? Because this is a private property issue. But again, it hinges on private property that is open to the public. And that would be supermarkets, restaurants, movie theaters, as Alan pointed out, office buildings, whatever business establishment it is, if it's privately owned. Now, guys, we don't face that problem here in the state of Georgia, so I'm very fortunate. It's very few businesses. A couple, I think, Jared's and K Jewelers, and I don't go to them anyway. Other than that, I don't know of any. The signs are not prevalent. Arizona, they're everywhere. Virtually every restaurant in Old Town Scottsdale bans you from carrying a gun, which means you got to leave it in your car if you're following the law. Or you can carry it if you have a plastic permit in your pocket in a particular restaurant, not constitutional, that serves
30.
alcohol, but you can't drink anything. So if you're going out to have some fun and cut loose, well, you're not taking your gun with you. You're leaving it in the car. And that's not where we want your gun. We want your gun on your person, protecting you and defending yourself and everybody else around you, so it's safe. So we'll see how this shakes out. This is going to be interesting. Armed American Radio will be back at 6 minutes after the hour. Jared Yanis is going to be here from Guns and Gadgets. It's going to be a fun hour. Don't go away. See you on the flip side.
You just filled your prescription for freedom with Mark Walters, presented by the National Rifle Association. The National Rifle Association on the Armed American Radio Network.
Greg, I'm going to mute out here and check this X feed real quick. All right, let me run another mic test here for it. See if we can try to pinpoint that. I don't think I'm going to be able to do anything about it. Let's give that a check, 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 check. Checking audio one more time. Checking audio one more time. Guys, it looks like the X feed is a mess, and that's from X. I don't know what to tell you there. Everything else appears to be running just fine.
This is Armed American Radio.
If they want to take my guns, they're going to have to bring a station wagon and a whole lot of friends because I'm not giving them anything.
From the Car Firearms Group studio at the Patriot Mobile Communication Center. Proudly presented to you by the National Rifle Association. National Rifle Association. Here is your host of Armed American Radio, the loudest conservative voice in America fighting for your rights, Mark Walters.
Armed American Radio's Hour 2 begins right now on hundreds of radio stations across the nation. I am Mark Walters, filling your prescription for freedom today and every day here in front of the CZ microphone at, and this is great, the Patriot Mobile Communication and Command Center, all being brought to you by the great National Rifle Association. Greg in Dallas, Texas, how you doing, my brother from another mama?
Man, I'm doing pretty good. Here we are. Hour 2 is upon us.
Yeah, a little public service announcement here, guys. The X stream, for whatever reason, X is having a problem updating the live stream. So if you're listening to the program and you want to watch us, I can send you right over to armedamericanradio.com. You can click Watch Live, and you'll catch our YouTube stream right there live for you, or you can watch us at Armed American Radio on YouTube. Greg, I'll just throw those out. You can also watch us live on Rumble, and you can also watch us live on Facebook.com/Armed American Radio. I apologize, but I don't run X and got nothing to do with it, so I don't know what to tell you. You can keep checking back over there and see if it eventually updates our live stream for us, and I hate that because there's many, many hundreds that are trying to watch the program live over there right now, and I feel bad, but there's nothing I can do about that. We are streaming on all the other platforms for you. But this is, after all, what, Greg?
It's a radio show.
Yes, it is. Indeed, it is a radio show. So I guess I did that. I took your spiel. So if you would be kind enough to tell people where to go to get involved in the chat, that would be great, too.
Sure. Just to join the live chat, just download Telegram, create your profile, and search for Armed American Radio Conversations.
Yeah, also, guys, you can also visit us at riverside.fm. and watch the live stream there. So we got lots of platforms for you if you want to watch the program, and many thousands of you like to do that. So my next guest, guys, is somebody I've been wanting to bring on the program for a long time. You can blame me. It's my fault, and I'll apologize to him here on a live microphone on hundreds of radio stations across the nation, from sea to shining sea. Jared Yanis, you know him from Guns and Gadgets. I don't know, just shy of about 1 million followers over there. A powerful voice. I hate Jared. Welcome in. I hate the term influencer, but I'm going to use it because you are. You are. Yeah. Welcome, man.
Hey, brother. It's good to be here. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's a pleasure and honor to see you do what you do and now to be a part of it. It's awesome. Thank you.
I'll tell you what. Greg. I've already told Jared this, but this is not his first appearance and last appearance. He's likely going to become a regular on the show. Your take on stuff is so fun. I love watching your videos. Now, you and I got to spend some time together at the Gun Rights Policy Conference, albeit limited because everybody was so busy. But it's always fun to be able to introduce you guys every year at this thing, and you have such a huge, powerful voice. So before we get cracking, hey, just between you and me, not the hundreds of radio stations, how did Guns and Gadgets get cranking? Man, you got what's your following value? Like 770,000 followers over there now?
Yeah, we're closing in on 800,000 on YouTube and over 115,000 on the Facebook, and varying amounts on every other platform, depending on how I guess welcoming they are to the Second Amendment. But the channel started on accident. I was a police officer in my former life and was convalescing at home from a shoulder surgery. And at the time, YouTube, this is almost 13 years ago now, at the time, YouTube was either a crazy cat video or a holster review. And I made a comment to my son, I can do a holster review better than that, because I was a firearms instructor. And he challenged me and held up an iPhone 4S. That tells you how long ago that was.
Wow.
Yeah, in my basement, and the rest is history. I named it Guns and Gadgets because I wanted to do, cool reviews, and I didn't realize how expensive it was. As the only, breadwinner in the family, because we have special needs children, I realized I couldn't really do that. So, Massachusetts at the time where I lived was going after the Second Amendment hard, and reinterpreting some rifle laws where they could ban everything they wanted, and I just started to do law recaps and give people the heads up of what was actually going on and what was actually in the bill, and it kind of just blew up from there.
It's interesting because you said about 115,000 over on Facebook. I've had about 80,000 plus over there for years, and they're just now beginning to open me up over there. They just don't like what we talk about, Jared. They don't like the political aspect of this, and I found it fascinating. Well, I think you'll appreciate this, but the day that what's-his-face went to Mar-a-Lago after the election. Remember that? Facebook?
Oh,
Went
yeah.
to Mar-a-Lago. Later that day, they opened up our social media streams. They were, began to allow us to monetize. I still haven't seen anything from it. I don't know how their algorithms work. I haven't been able to figure that out. But what I do know is that they shut us down, and shadow banning was very real, as you found out over there. And then you've exploded it. So maybe you and I will have a conversation after the airwave talk sometime. But yeah, I'm just proud of you for doing it, man. And you've got such a great and powerful voice out there, and people engage with what you talk about, and that's huge. And I guess you got to a point where, like, well, I'm not going to change the name now because I'm picking up a bunch of followers, and off you were to the races. Because you're right, it was crazy cat videos, maybe a few police chase videos, right?
Yeah. It kind of blew up. I didn't anticipate it because I'd always done that anyway. I'd always been like an advisor for other cops in the field or other citizens that I knew were, getting into guns or wanted to buy some new stuff. So I'd been doing that anyway, breaking down laws and telling people what exactly it meant. So I didn't really think it would pop off. But, as you've experienced, there is a growing need for people to truly understand what's going on so that we can rectify some of the wrongs.
Oh, and there are some wrongs. And like you were just talking about, you mentioned Massachusetts where they wanted to, ban the rifles. I got to thinking when I heard you say that, do they really want to ban the rifles? I mean, they say they don't want to, Jared.
No, they want to ban everything. They can't control the populace as long as it's armed.
Yeah, and if you guys, I think I've used Washington State as a prime example. I forget what the number is, Jared, but it's like 120 some, or in California, same thing. 120, quote unquote, types of assault rifles. It's not just your AR-15, ladies and gentlemen. That's just the low-hanging fruit, okay?
Yeah, they want it all now. You've seen what happened a couple weeks ago in Utah. Now they're talking about, granddad's hunting rifle, stuff with 4 or 5 rounds in it. So they want it all, make no mistake. And unless we, the people, start to push back fiercely, they're going to try to take whatever they can.
Well, Jared, we hear the term, right? Weapon of war. That's one of their favorite terms. Weapons of war have no place on our streets. Isn't my 1911 or aren't my 1911s weapons of war?
Yeah, we need to come to grasp with that. A firearm is designed for a specific purpose, and that's not the problem we have. It is something that was protected. It was a right before we had the Constitution. It's just a realization on the document that founded this country that we had a pre-existing right given to us by our Creator, and it just spells it out. It's something that we've always had. Look what happened to Europe. Look what happened to England. About 30 years ago, they gave up the guns, and now they're getting arrested for Facebook posts and memes. So that's what they want in this country. That's what's coming next if we don't push back.
You're right, and I'm glad you brought that up because these are natural progressions, ladies and gentlemen. When they take your guns from you, they can do anything they want to you, and they know that. That's part of the grand plan. We're seeing it right above our northern borders in Canada right now. You know what they're doing up there. I don't have to tell you. They're coming after everything,
it's disgusting. It's disgusting, and they're going to just keep doing it across the world until the last shining star, the last bastion of freedom is the United States of America. We have no place to go. People will always flee their countries and lands to come here, but we have nowhere to go. So it's on us, and the world is watching.
Yeah, this is it, ladies and gentlemen. We've heard that phrase before. This is the last bastion of freedom around the world. And I'll just say this: thank God Donald Trump is our president right now. But on that note, I'd like to get your thoughts on this because I've said it many times on the airwaves, but there's a part of me looking back in hindsight and retrospect, which is always looking back is always high definition vision in the rearview mirror, right? We can see things a lot clearer.
Right.
We needed to go through these previous 4 years with Biden to get to this point. We had to suffer through that. It would have been a completely different second term, right? If Biden had not come in. Now we know what they want to do. We've seen it in action. Hence why Trump is here. Go ahead.
Exactly. Yeah, Biden was the multiplier, and had we not realized, what they were planning on doing on the administrative side, because they knew they couldn't pass a law or a constitutional amendment stripping the right itself. So they did everything they could with the ATF, backdoored us, until people lost everything. People lost their livelihoods. They were shutting down FFLs at a record pace, for clerical errors, dotting I's and crossing T's. And there was no way for us to know that was something that was on their drawing board. And now that we know it, we're scoring some big wins in the courts that are ending this. And now what used to be like conspiracy theories, people realize that that's exactly what, the populists want. They want total, utter control, and they want us totally defenseless.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ready to take our first break. When we come back, we're going to take this conversation. I love having Jared on the program today because, Jared, you make my job really easy. I don't have to do a whole lot when I know you're going to come on the program, right? Because you know everything that we're going to talk about. Such a wealth of information, and it's going to be a fun conversation, ladies and gentlemen. I want to talk about Thune and concealed carry reciprocity. Your video from about 4 or 5 days ago was incredibly informative, and I think people need to hear it. Armed American Radio listeners need to hear it. So we're going to bat that one around because it's been floating around out there for years, ladies and gentlemen. We've talked about the Thune Amendment a decade ago, 17 years into this national radio broadcast. When we come back, Jared Yanis, Guns and Gadgets. Make sure to check him out on YouTube, Guns and Gadgets. Armed American Radio's Monster Cast will be back right after the break. Don't go away. Rifle Association. Help us defend freedom by visiting nra.org/AAR and join today. Welcome back to the show. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Car Firearms Group Studios. Mark Walters filling your prescription for freedom. And you just heard that rejoin. All of it is being brought to you by the Great National Rifle Association. Please, ladies and gentlemen, visit the National Rifle Association at nra.org/AAR. And like I told you before, 1 year membership is only $35, okay? And I'm going to send you a free range bag for a 1 year or 3 year new membership or renewal. 5 year or life membership is going to get you the super high quality 10x42 binoculars. So you get really cool free stuff for joining. We need you in this fight. This is the nation's oldest civil rights organization. Please join us or rejoin us. It is imperative. And it's what keeps this program on the air for 17 years now. We need you to support our partners. You can find them all at armedamericanradio.com. All of them, armedamericanradio.com. And we'll talk about more of them throughout the rest of this broadcast. We appreciate you visiting them. One more note about the X feed. Nothing I can do about that there. You can watch the program on YouTube. You can also watch the YouTube feed on my website at armedamericanradio.com, should you be so inclined to do so. And we'll post this up back on X tomorrow for you so you can watch it, the recorded version of it. Jared Yanis, Guns and Gadgets, welcome back, brother. Let's talk HR 38. You did a video, I think it was about 5 days ago, that was really eye-popping. It's something that I have followed for years, but I really appreciated your take and explanation on this. You gave about a 15-minute dissertation here. Take it away, brother. What do we need to know about HR 38? Where does it stand? When is it going to be heard? I think we have 188 cosigns on this right now. We've got bipartisan. We've got one Democrat that crossed over. Where are we here?
Well, we're in a holding pattern now because of the government shutdown. But the House had started the movement in earnest. They had scheduled it for this week for a House floor vote, and all indicators were it was going to pass the House, which would have then sent it to the Senate. And for those who don't know, H.R. 38 is the constitutional concealed carry reciprocity bill. We know that Donald Trump has said in both this term as well as his previous term that should that bill ever make it to his desk, he would sign it into law. And that's where we come in. We have the votes to make it past the House. The House isn't really the big issue. It's the Senate. You need 60 votes in the Senate to destroy the filibuster to get cloture. So that's going to be the struggle. But to get it to the point where we then have a focused attack is something we wanted. So we're on a holding pattern now. Like you said, there were 189 co-sponsors, which is phenomenal. It shows a lot of support in the House. But we need the government to reopen before we get everything rescheduled and for a vote now.
Well, there's always been a lot of confusion on this bill, and I know you followed this for a long time, for many, many years. You go back years ago, the Thune Amendment has been out there, Jared, for years. Yep, McConnell failed to move it years ago, all right? Good old Mitch McConnell, Rhino, Buggy himself, just, wouldn't bring it to a vote in the Senate when we controlled the Senate with a little bit bigger majority. So a lot of people, when they look at concealed carry reciprocity, they think, well, I don't want the government giving me something like that, because what the government giveth, the government can take it away. And this is not, it's just no different than your driver's license being recognized, ladies and gentlemen. It is not a national concealed carry license. And I think it's important to point that out. There's a lot of misconceptions, right?
Yeah, it's a good point, because everybody gets all balled up when they think they're going to get a federal license, and that's not what this looks to do at all. There are two different types of states, if you will. There are constitutional carry states or permitless carry states, and those that don't offer that yet. But this covers people in both states. So if your state issues a concealed carry permit for any reason, whether it's required, quote unquote required to exercise your right, or if your state is a constitutional carry state and they issue them for reciprocity reasons, that is all you need. And and then obviously some type of driver's license to prove that's you. And then you would be covered everywhere, meaning California, Hawaii, Massachusetts, Maine, New York, all of the the blue states. And it's something that I honestly think we don't need it, because the Second Amendment is what it is, and
Agreed.
The laws that they've passed in the last 40 years are all unconstitutional. And thanks to Bruin, we're starting to unwind that mess. But in the meantime, it's a good thing to have to jumpstart that process. There are people who are in these states, like California has probably the most gun owners in the country,
Yeah.
but they're behind enemy lines, and people just say, well, that's California. They voted for that. And that's not really the case. So this bill would look to allow Americans to exercise their rights across fake dotted lines on a map, so that if you ever had to be put in a position where your life is at risk, then you can exercise that right without, really worrying about having to do time in prison for protecting yourself or your family or your wife,
Yeah, as I'm listening to you, I can't help but chuckle. I'm thinking about, I was asked to take the Armed American Radio vet when I had it wrapped up with all the logos up to Manchester, New Hampshire for a SIG event, and there was no way I was driving it up there. Leaving Georgia and heading up through Delaware and New Jersey and New York and Massachusetts and all that, and Connecticut and Massachusetts and all that nonsense. I just wasn't going to take that chance, especially coming with Georgia plates. Now, I get where I'm going with this is we saw the crybaby fits post Bruin, right? Let's pick on Hochul because it's easy to do and she's easy to pick on. Everywhere is off limits, right? So you're still going to have to navigate the maze of the state laws that you're in. And Jared, I'm not knocking all New Jersey cops. I'm not knocking all New York cops or Massachusetts cops, okay? But they didn't come up in free states, bro, like they did down here in the state of Georgia or Florida, somewhere down south, where they just know everybody's got a gun and it's part of daily life. They don't even think about it. Imagine the pushback.
Yeah.
What kind of pushback do you think we'd get driving through some of those states or stopping and carrying our gun and out of state without a permit, just your driver's license because you live in Georgia, don't need a permit?
Unfortunately, a lot of flack. It's unfortunate, and I was in that world for 24 years, and I've been through academies in 2 different states, and they do not teach you that stuff. They teach you the basics.
Sad.
So if a cop wants to be really, really good at his job and know all of the laws, you have to take it on your own and do a whole bunch of learning all by yourself. So a lot of people, unfortunately, go off of the basics just to be the entry level, and they run off of that. And I had to teach people all the time, that just because somebody has X, Y, or Z firearm doesn't mean the gun is illegal. It means the law is illegal. And our job was to protect the Constitution and the people's rights, not to strip them of that. So, as you can imagine, in my 24 years, I made a lot of enemies in the Second Amendment realm as far as law enforcement.
I'm sure
but
it
it has to be done.
Yeah, I'm not
done.
knocking cops. I'm not knocking cops at all. There's a lot of great cops all over the country. The vast majority of them are. But I got to tell you, when they're not familiar with these types of laws, and, we see the tantrums that they throw, right? Well, they're doing it right now in Florida. Open carry, oh, my God. Well, you're going to need to put a lift kit on your Jeep to drive through the rivers of blood, Jared.
30.
Okay?
Right. Yeah, it's crazy.
we know that's not true, folks. But it doesn't stop them from saying that. When we come back, we're going to continue the conversation with Jared because the pushback, guys, will be real. It will be real. And we saw the tantrums post-Bruin. Well, let's just kind of speculate and have some fun of what we think maybe, what Jared and I think might happen, push back this. Can you imagine that? They're screaming about Florida being open carry. Imagine what they're going to do when they're required to actually adhere to our constitutional rights. Talking with Jared Yanis, Guns and Gadgets, YouTube sensation. He's the real deal, ladies and gentlemen. Glad to have him on the program. We've got him for 2 more segments. Lots to cover. Hundreds of radio stations tuned in. Keep it right here. Don't go away. We'll be right back, filling your prescription for freedom today and every day on Armed American Radio.
Hi, it's Mike Gallagher wanting to let you know that the crew of the Desperado Sport Fish in Virginia Beach, Virginia supports Armed American Radio and the Second Amendment, and I'm right there with them. Now back to Mark Walters.
Oh, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate the Mike Gallagher rejoin. Have for years. You can listen to Mike Gallagher on Salem Radio Network every morning, 9 to noon Eastern Time, and on the Pacific Time Zone at 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. He's got to get up real early when he's out at Vegas doing SHOT Show over the last few years. Well, he's broadcasting out there in that Pacific Time Zone. But we love Mike Gallagher. He does support our Second Amendment. We support Mike Gallagher, so make sure to give him a listen and check out all of our great partners at armedamericanradio.com. Crossbreed Holsters, another one. Car Arms, CZ, they're all there for you. Heaven's Harvest, got all your emergency food supplies taken care of. BudsGunShop.com. And remember, if you're cleaning your guns like I do, because I pitched the patch a long time ago, I use Barrel Buddies. And if you use AAR promo code, you're going to get 10% off. And when you go over to the site, you can also sign up as an affiliate over there, guys. So if you're frequenting the range, you've got buddies that want to use this stuff because they're going to see what you're cleaning your guns with right there on the range. It takes 2 swipes. And they're going to say, what is that? You can make money. It's real simple. It's all there for you at barrelbuddy.com. Clean your guns the new way, the modern way. It's patented technology. It's super easy to do, and you can clean your gun and put them right back in your holster, right back in your range bag. Barrelbuddy.com, barrelbuddy.com. Promo code AAR as it is everywhere else. Let's go back to Jared Yanis, Guns and Gadgets. Jared, welcome back to the program, brother. Fun to have you here. So, the pushback is going to be significant if we can get this through the Senate. How do you think it would shake? I'm just curious. What do you think let's pick on Hochul and Pritzker and Newsom. These people are idiots. How do you think these idiots will respond?
Well, they'll do what they historically have always done. They'll figure out some type of way that they can use the wording against us. For instance, Finance Policy Coalition is famous for pointing out what that might be in this particular bill. The way it's written, it covers the gun you're holding, the ammunition in the magazine, and the magazine in the gun. In theory, the gray area would be, what about the magazines I have that's not in the gun?
Right.
So that's something that we are trying to push to have fixed on an amendment level, which is simple to do. But it is something that we do have to start looking at the bills we're in favor of to find those quote-unquote open doors that the left always uses and try to close those before they get the opportunity to do that.
Now, will this, and maybe a dumb question, and you talked a little bit about magazines in your video at Guns and Gadgets. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not subscribing, please do. Guns and Gadgets on YouTube, you'll see them there. Many of you probably already do, but if you don't, you're doing yourself a disservice. Make sure to check Jared out over at Guns and Gadgets. You were talking about magazines. Let's talk about ammo real quick. Will this have any impact on ammo, illegal ammo, in New Jersey, for example, where hollow points are banned?
That's going to be the issue. So you're going to have a bunch of states, push that state rights issue. However, they're not supposed to be violating our Second Amendment. So if you have a right, not a privilege that protects your right to protect yourself, then they don't get to tell you how to do that. So that is one of the reasons that ammo was specifically written into the bill.
Right.
And I do foresee that being a battleground. You're going to have, New York and New Jersey push back and say, well, we don't like these self-defense rounds because they do what they're supposed to do. And yeah. Well, New York for years led the New York Police Department led the nation in secondary shootings because they were using full metal jackets, so it would go right through their intended target and strike other things behind them. So until they learned that hollow points weren't really that bad.
You can't fix stupid, Jared. I don't know what else to say. It is fun while it's scary because these guys will thumb their nose at a Supreme Court decision, as they have done going back to 2008 Heller. They just thumb their nose at it. And when they can't thumb their nose at it, what do? They try to rewrite it, reinterpret it with their friends in the mainstream media to make it appear as if it's a gun control ruling and not the ruling that Heller gave us. Hey, these people are insidious, man. They will look at you at midnight, like I've said for years, and look at you at midnight and tell you the sun is shining, brother. And do it with a straight face. And if you tell them that they're wrong, they'll throw you out of the press conference at midnight.
Well, the good part is that we have a lot of cases that are teed up for this term for the Supreme Court that is going to take a lot of the wind out of their sails. For instance, a couple days ago, Wolford v. Lopez, which is a famous case out of Hawaii. That's the vampire rule. For those who might not know that term, Hawaii and New York, they flipped the current laws on their head by saying that any private property you are banned from carrying unless the owner specifically posts a sign saying guns are welcome here, where prior to that it was always the reverse. Private property rights were always a thing. So if you wanted to, not have a conservative who loves their constitutional rights in your business, you would post that sign, no guns allowed. But they flipped that on their head, and now the Supreme Court has agreed to take that up because it's just a backdoor gun ban, and you're making huge swaths of the islands, in this case it's Hawaii, that people are not allowed to protect themselves. And the spirit of aloha is what they want to rule the island versus somebody's actual right.
Yeah, you're right. Spirit of aloha. That is absolutely correct. We saw the same thing with the sensitive places throughout New York, California, et cetera. So let's go there. I'm glad you brought the case up. That was on my list for you anyway. You tell me whether you agree with me or not. Now, look, I used this with AWR Hawkins in the last hour, or with Greg in the last segment of the last hour. I'm a homeowner. If I don't like green pickup trucks and I'm having a party at my house, you have a green pickup truck, I don't want your pickup truck in my driveway or in front of my house. Get it in front of the pool and walk yourself down, get a golf cart. I don't care. I don't want you. I have a right to do that if I want to in my own home. I don't want you parking.
Correct.
Here. However, my home is not open to the public, Jared. I'm not taking money from the public. I'm not serving food to the public. It truly is private property. So how do we square up private property that's open to the public?
Well, that's going to be something that hopefully the Supreme Court in their ruling, which I really do think we're going to win this one, hands down.
I agree.
It doesn't pass under Bruin or Heller or anything else. So what they're going to have to do is make some type of mention that, short of that business or whatever, then assuming the responsibility of security for people, meaning armed guards or whatever, then you can't disarm the public. And we're seeing things like that pop up at the state levels and district levels that, you can't bar somebody from their Second Amendment right, period, especially if you're not going to provide that type of security. Mm-hmm. So I think the Supreme Court's going to have to mention that, whether they do or not. I mean, nobody can, unless you're in the room with them, nobody knows what they're going to say. But it's getting to the point where I think they're starting to see that. They're starting to see that the way they've left some doors open, that they're being bastardized, if you will, in the anti-gun courts, and they're using what they say against them in a lot of spots. And I really do think that the Supreme Court's getting fed up with it. I mean, you've heard Clarence Thomas say numerous times now that the Second Amendment should not be treated as a second-class right, and you even heard Kavanaugh say that in the next term or two they will take up an assault weapon, quote-unquote, assault weapon ban case. And we're in that first of two terms, and we do have a solid one, teed up for them this term. So I hope we get a lot of positive movement on that level at the Supreme Court, and it's just going to be a good year to be alive to watch some of the anti-gun stuff get crumbled.
I agree with you 100%. You're absolutely correct, and we're going to win both of those cases. We've had Gottlieb on this program many times over the years. And like many people, and probably yourself included, I was very disappointed that the Fourth Circuit case that became Snopes and then later changed its name did not get taken by the court. But Kavanaugh's little caveat there made me feel a little bit better. So I believe there's some type of reason. Like you said, if you're not in the room with them, we don't know what goes on behind closed doors at conference. We have no idea, and we never will, and probably never should, to be honest with you, in a real world scenario. But I would love to be the fly on the wall in there to find out. So they're going to take a case, and I feel pretty confident we're going to win that. And I think we win this one as well, too. It's going to matter to people who live in places, I use this example a lot. Arizona, most gun-friendly state in the country. Go to downtown Scottsdale, Old Town Scottsdale, and try to carry your gun in any restaurant. Good luck, unless you're willing to violate the law. I think when you're in a free state, eventually what happens is, just like the state of Georgia, Jared, right before we go to the break, I'll take this to the break. We'll talk about it when we come back. Then I want to go to the post office with you as well. And your latest video 3 days ago, governor to intentionally violate Constitution and Second Amendment. But I think what happens here is people begin to realize, it's not even worth trying to fight this. We've never had a problem. And I think reality just overtakes the naysayers and the anti-gunners, the gun banners, the communists, the Marxists masquerading as former Democrats out there. We have one more segment with Jared Yanis, Guns and Gadgets. Make sure to subscribe, Guns and Gadgets, over at YouTube, and help him build that huge base he's got going on. You'll love his YouTube channel. Armed American Radio will be back on hundreds of radio stations right after the break. Don't go away. One more segment with Jared. If you own a firearm, you know that a self-defense incident can happen anytime. That's why you need Attorneys on Retainer. They're the only self-defense program backed by real attorneys who specialize in self-defense cases. Visit them online at attorneysonretainer.us. Welcome back. Yeah, welcome back indeed. Hundreds of radio stations cranked up from sea to shining sea across this great country today, tuning into Armed American Radio's national broadcast. I am Mark Walters, filling your prescription on the broadcast, and you are on the Armed American Radio Network. Guys, you hear the Attorneys on Retainer rejoin each hour, and again, I'm just going to beat it in. I'm going to beat it into the ground. If you carry a gun, you know bad things happen. That's why you carry a gun. The last thing you want is the worst moment of your life wind up in an investigation of you, and you don't have an attorney. And Jared works with Attorneys on Retainer as well, and he has told you on his site, as I'm going to tell you now, multiple times, $35 a month. Multiplied by 12. I'll let you liberals break out your calculators for that one. It's not too hard to figure out. It's less than 1 hour of an okay attorney. 1 hour. And you're going to need a hell of a lot more than 1 hour. Attorneysonretainer.us. Jared, I got to use my promo code on this show, okay? If that's okay. AAR. Jared, jump back in with us. Attorneysonretainer.us. The promo code is AAR. Make sure to please do like my family has done and have an attorney on retainer in your pocket. Carry the card. It's $35 a month, and you save $50 off when you do that. Jared Yanis, welcome back in, my brother.
It's a pleasure to be here, bud.
Hey, man, so I want to apologize again to those of you that are listening. I am seeing some of the comments in here, some of you that are watching. I've left the camera off because the software, there's just a problem with the feed today for the video. I do apologize. It's beyond my control. So I've turned the camera off, which wasn't syncing up with the audio, so now you can listen, or you can visit armedamericanradio.com, of course, and click Listen Live to the actual national radio broadcast. And those of you who might be new to the program, this is not a podcast. You are going to hear commercial breaks because we are a national radio broadcast being heard and carried on hundreds of affiliates across the country on this huge monster show. So we appreciate you jumping in with us, and welcome to the program if you're new to the program. If you're rejoining us, as always, welcome back. Always a pleasure. So, Jared, let's go to post office. Now, this, again, Second Amendment Foundation, right at the tip of the spear again here. Now, if you're a member of SAF, you're a member of FPC, this applies to you, ladies and gentlemen. You can join now. You can carry in a post office. But do you expect any pushback on this from the administration, from the DOJ? I've not heard anything yet, Jared. Maybe you have?
Haven't heard anything yet. Again, with the shutdown, everything's kind of just paused. I would expect the DOJ to try to push back, but again, that's not going to go good for the administration. So it's going to come down to, what the Attorney General Pam Bondi can, I guess, pitch to her boss, Donald Trump, and see if it's something they really want to push forward. It's one of those bills or one of those laws, rather, that if they leave it where it is and it sits as is, but if they push it, then it could really go bad for those who want to continue to ban carry in post offices, because then you're going to get a national injunction and destroy it. So we'll have to see where it goes. It's tough to kind of see where this DOJ is going, because they're kind of all over the place lately.
Yeah.
We're getting some positive movement, but the things that they would fight back against and defend our right on doesn't seem they're doing quite yet. So I guess it's a wait and see thing.
I agree. I think it is a wait and see. And strategically, I don't know what they've got going on behind the scenes strategically here. I think you just laid it out. It carries risks either way. And you're not hearing a lot of mainstream press coverage on this, right? Which is kind of very unusual, I think, from the anti-gunners. Would you agree?
Yeah, by design. They don't want people to realize that we have a win. You never hear our wins on the national level. You hear our defeats all the time, but they don't want people to realize that they actually have a right.
So, Jared, where do we go from here with the last 3 minutes of the program that I have you? And I hope you're having a good time, and I can't wait to bring you back. I really can't wait to bring you back. There's always so much to talk with you about. One of those.
This is awesome.
Oh, I'm having a great time with it. I do want to go to, because your video from 3 days ago, and let me just give the video title out, ladies and gentlemen. If you're not subscribed to Guns and Gadgets, you're doing yourself a disservice. Please make sure to do that. Governor to intentionally violate U.S. Constitution and Second Amendment. Who could we possibly be talking about here, even though I know the answer to the question?
Elmer Fudd himself, Mr. Wald.
Oh, my gosh. What is this clown posse leader up to now?
Well, anytime there's any type of terrible incident that happens to include a gun, you'll always get pushback from those blue states. Eric Holder was famous for saying never let a tragedy go to waste, and they're using the shootings that happened in Minnesota to try to strip people of their rights. The good news is that people got activated, and enough people reached out to the Republicans in the state, and they did not accept the Democrats' proposal for a special session. But that doesn't mean they're out of the woods yet, so people need to stay active. We, in Tennessee, the patron state of shooting stuff, we had the same thing happen 2 years ago, last year, when the governor tried to push a red flag via a special session.
Right.
A rhino governor, I'll add, because a friend of his daughter was involved in a shooting. So nobody's safe. Doesn't matter what state you live in. If you have that attitude where it can't happen here, you're doing what they want. You're not getting involved. You're staying reactive rather than proactive, and that's how these states go from red to purple to blue.
Boy, you nailed that one. And we covered that when that happened. You sit back and you look at this and you go, what is going on with this particular governor in a bright red, very gun-friendly state that they would pull these shenanigans? And guys, I'm just going to go back, and Ryan Petty, Jared.
Yes.
He has made it very clear on this program for the last few years. The left will never stop, ever. They won't stop, and rhinos won't either. Look, we can go. Let's just talk briefly about Pennsylvania. Was reporting this with AAR Hawkins in the first hour of the show. You had 5 Republicans side with the Democrats on the universal background checks. Now
it's insane.
Yeah, and so okay, I'm going to ask you to get in their heads. Why? Now I brought this up to AWR. I could be wrong. But they knew they weren't going to have the votes, so it's possible House leadership in the state said, okay, guys, we know you're in kind of a blue district. If you want to do this, it's okay. It's not going to be enough anyway. I mean, you see that played out on the national stage, federal level. I don't know if that happened or not, but it's just infuriating. Either support the Second Amendment or walk away. Let us know.
Yeah, if it were only that easy.
Yeah, right.
Generally, it does have to do with, a lot of times it has to do with the people who are in tight races, so they are able to be reelected, which is horrible. I mean, that reason alone, they should be primaried and kicked out of office. But sometimes when I talk to politicians at whether it's state or federal level, they really don't know. It's not an excuse. They should know the bills that they're voting on, but they really don't know the dangers that are in these quote unquote universal background check, which is just a registry, so that they can know who has what and where they have it. And they're not aware of it because they don't spend time to read the bills. And often, you have a bunch of stuff thrown together where you have, 2,000-page bills that ought to pass, and they sneak this stuff in. And that's how it gets through, because people don't have the time to read those. Just like Pelosi said with Obamacare, we have to pass the bill to know what's in the bill. And unfortunately, that happens far too often.
Yeah, they think it's an innocuous bill, that it really is not going to matter. I can go ahead and vote for this. It's not a big deal. We saw a lot of that with red flags. And we're seeing now the pushback in Florida. Hopefully that's overturned. Hey, Jared, we're at the end of it, man. It's a hard break. Thank you for being here. I had a blast. I hope you had a great time. Man, I can't wait to bring you back real soon.
I really look forward to it. Thank you for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, you better believe it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Jared Yanis, Guns and Gadgets. As I said, if you are not a subscriber to his channel, well, you're doing yourself a disservice. Please subscribe to Jared over there at his channel. He is unbelievable. That's Guns and Gadgets. It's all Second Amendment news, and we'll have Jared on the program quite frequently. I can promise you that. When we come back, classic roundtable. Ryan Petty is in the air on a late flight. Beverly Hills Guns owner, founder will be here with us, and that'll be also with Justin Moon and also Brad Premo. There we go. We'll be back right after the break, 6 after.
You just filled your prescription for freedom with Mark Walters, presented by the National Rifle Association. The National Rifle Association on the Armed American Radio Network.
All right, guys, we will be back at 6 minutes after the hour. This next few minutes is known in radio as a biology break. All right, so we're going to take a quick biology break, and we will be back with you at 6 minutes after the hour. Please visit all of our partners at armedamericanradio.com. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the hour with Jared. I certainly did. It was a lot of fun. Cannot wait to bring him back. He's just chock full of information. And I've been introducing him at the GRPC for the last few years, and it's about damn time we had him on the program, and that is my fault, not his. And I know he had a good time. So we will do that again with Jared very soon. Might even be next week. Look for regular slots. We'll be back right after the breaks, 6 minutes after, back live with you. Don't go away. Roundtable coming up next.